Yo, good afternoon. Welcome to the Stokastic.com NBA Live Before Lock Show. Ooh, all right. Sunday, 2-game slate. Sixers, Celtics, Phoenix Suns, Denver Nuggets. Breaking it all down right here on the Stokastic YouTube's channel. Very happy to have you guys with us. I'm Dave Loughran at Lafayette_D, joined by Josh Engleman at Josh Engleman. What's going on, brother?
What's up, man? Sunday games, fun. Philly trying to save their season today. We'll see. We'll see.
Both of these teams, though, Phoenix cannot sustain what they're doing over the course of 7 games. And even if you can't, it's not a winning solution what they're doing. They have nothing on that team outside of 2 players.
Yeah, the weird thing is, though, I don't think Chris Paul's status matters all that much. He's obvious. It matters, obviously, but
no, I
it's
get
so
exactly
marginal in comparison to Durant and Booker at this point.
I get exactly what you're saying. You could put him in there, and I still don't have them to be competitive in the West.
Right, that line moves a point at best, based on his status.
Yeah, last game, Durant and Devin Booker had 189 total touches. The rest of the team combined had 188. That's crazy.
Just playing 5-on-2.
We'll get into the usage rates. I'm sure you look, but if you look at the usage rates from that game, not including
30-something, 30-something, 10, 10, 10.
That's exactly what it was. It was 36, 32, and then 10% for anyone that played more than 3 minutes or something. Yeah. Incredible. So it's not looking good. It's not looking good. They got that win. It's kind of a last gasp. But the Sixers too, man. The Sixers are in trouble. We said it, though. We said it the other day, right? We said it the other day on, what was it? Friday morning strategy show. And it sounds like, typical know-nothing analysis, right? Just like lazy analysis going, if James Harden doesn't play well, they have no chance. James Harden turned into Ben Simmons, and they had no chance. It was amazing at times. If I didn't tell you the score of that game and you just watched it, you would have thought Philly was down by 30. Somehow they managed to keep it remotely competitive. James Harden and by the way, very happy to have you guys with us as always. Happy Sunday. Hopefully you guys are having a good weekend. Hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. It helps us out greatly. Take a single second. Then I won't have to annoy you about it. Harden it wasn't that he just had a rough game, Josh. It was one of the worst games I've ever seen him play. He was driving to the rim, and he looked like, I know this is what everyone was saying. I'm sure. I don't know. I wasn't looking at Twitter, but I'm sure it was what everyone was saying. He looked like playoff Ben Simmons. It was horrifying.
When he passed that one layup up, I was
the turnover?
Very, very surprised. Yeah, 3 of 14 from the field. He just didn't have any legs in his shot. And then anytime that he was trying to get to the rim, it was just him meeting resistance at some point in time, flailing himself about, and then bitching that he didn't get a call. And it's just well, you look ridiculous. You're not getting any separation. None of this should be a foul. And I was watching it as someone that was heavily exposed to James Harden. And I couldn't even be biased in what I wanted and argue oh, how is he not getting this call? It was no, you look like an asshole. Stop just begging for help.
Yeah. And this may rub, some Sixers fans the wrong way. I would be fine if Harden had a horrible day, but it was just because he couldn't hit anything from 3. That happens.
If the shot's not falling, the shot's not falling.
That happens. If he was, if he was 2 for 11 from 3, but he was firing and he had good looks, what am I supposed to say? Hit the shots. I play hockey, and our goalie, very good friend of mine, love the guy, but he'll be in goal, and you'll take a shot and you'll miss the net, right, Josh? And you'll hear him scream from the other side of the rink, hit the net. And I always come up to him. I go, Mike, no one's trying to miss the net. Nobody's actively trying. It's not one of those things where you can scream, hit the net, and then magically the very next possession, you bring the puck up the ice and you hit the net. You know what I mean? It doesn't work. It's the same thing with basketball. You can't be make the fucking shot. You're getting good looks. You're just missing shots. But Harden just was outright terrible from just passive, bad shots when he did take them. Maxey was terrible too. I don't think we should overlook that. Maxey was terrible. Embiid was the one that's playing with a mummified leg, and he actually had a pretty decent game.
Yeah, I mean, if he's going to be able to shoot 10 plus free throws in a playoff game, that's going to help them out tremendously. Like if he can get those calls, that's going to keep them in it. Played 39 and a half minutes. I would have had a lot more Joel Embiid had I expected him to be able to play 39 and a half minutes. And we can have that conversation of what we think he's going to play today. But I don't know. They started putting Tucker on ice and then all of a sudden brought him back once he started shooting again. This Philly team it's pretty bleak. Thank God for DeAnthony Melton. Really smart of the Grizzlies to get rid of him.
Yeah.
Definitely didn't need him at all.
He's a solid little player. He's a solid.
I mean, he's a perfect rotational piece for the playoffs. Perfect. No doubt about it. Like 8-man playoff rotation dude. Guards multiple positions. Willing shooter. Like it's exactly what every team should be looking for. It was a great pickup from Philly. One of the few things that I actually like them doing.
To be in a position like Melton where probably all 30 teams could use you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like every team could use you.
No doubt.
It's a nice little place. Look, are you getting LeBron James money? No, never will. But you're going to get handsomely paid, and you know what else? You're going to be in the league for a very long time.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Like it fits everywhere. It works everywhere. You don't really have to worry too much about any sort of like fit issues. Yeah, no brainer. No brainer.
Ready to get into some basketball, man?
I mean, Chandra thinks the Sixers play better without Embiid. That's something that someone actually typed.
There's a lot of people probably who think that because the Sixers won game 1. And it's not true. Can you like look, I don't think that he should have won the MVP. I think he should have been second. But for this exercise, it doesn't really matter if you're first or second. In what universe are you looking at that being like, you know what? They'd probably be better off right now if they just got rid of him entirely. Well, you know what it is too. As much as I love Paul Reed as a depth guy, as a backup, high energy, lightning rod type player, imagine him playing 38 minutes every game against Boston. It won't end well for you. There's just no way.
No, not at all. It's
no way.
No, it's the same. It's silly. It's so silly.
They're also just not good. They're not as good as Boston. Anyway, talk some basketball, man. Let's get into this. We got 2 games to get into. It's been beautiful. Yeah. Spent some day in the sun outside. Had the daughter outside. Next door neighbor and I broke out the baseball gloves, playing a little baseball today.
Oh, you have a catch?
Dude, I tell you what, you can laugh all you want. That's some fun stuff. Throwing some grounders at each other, some pop-ups, having some long toss. It's a good time. No, you wouldn't get into that? You would not enjoy that?
Not really.
Oh, you're crazy. That stuff brings you back. It's fun. I
need to gamify everything that I do. So I need to be like throwing it at a target closest to the something or other. If I'm just like slinging it back and forth, I'm bored.
I guess. I don't know. I have a good time. Yeah, whatever. You need to bet on it. You need to gamble on it in order to enjoy it.
Yeah. Who can throw it further?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would certainly take that wager up against you.
What do you mean?
I think I could throw it further. I think I could hit the target more accurately. I don't think you'd stand a chance.
I would put every dollar I have on me.
I'm not sure you've seen the sun in 7 years. You might not make it outside before exploding.
I was standing in my pool an hour ago.
Did you see, guys? I'm sorry. We'll get in. Did you see the video of Ben outside?
No.
Oh, he tweeted one. It was a good video, but I'm just like, man, I didn't know Ben ventured outside. I didn't know he could handle that.
Yeah, I see him. Yeah. I mean, like I've seen him do videos outside. I didn't see whichever one you mean, but I've seen.
I just picture him turning the camera off and beelining it back inside, like doors are wide open.
I like outside.
I love being outside, man. I love it. All right, let's talk about Boston and Philly. Boston Celtics today, 1.5 point favorites. The total is exactly where it was last game too. Both of these games, 214 total. Expected low scoring games. Actually, it moved to 1 now on DraftKings. So Boston 1 point favorites. That makes sense. You see the line shift a little bit since last game because Philly's in a 2-1 hole. Need to get a win here. Probably a lot of bets coming in on Philly. Who knows? I'd have to look. But you've got the top of and Marcus Smart's going to play, by the way. So he was questionable going into this one. He's going to play. This guy's taking a beating all series long. Starting to annoy me. Highest owned player, though, on the Celtics right now, going to be Derek White at $4,900. It is interesting that the price point on Derek White, who, consistently is giving you 30, 32 minutes per game. Nothing crazy as far as production goes. Certainly not a high usage player. He's fallen to the wayside as far as usage goes, playing alongside Tatum and Brown. A couple games ago, Brogdon had a big game. 53% going to Derek White today, though. Did we update? We may have updated.
Yeah, it's 49, so you're not exactly off here.
Is he still the highest owned player in Boston?
He is.
Okay.
He's the third highest owned guy behind Nikola Jokic and, spoiler alert, TJ Warren.
Yeah, not good call.
Yeah.
Good call.
Look, there's not much to say about White. Like, he's going to play in and around 30 minutes, you hope. He's 4,900. Like, he's a 0.8 guy, basically, maybe 0.85 in the series, something along those lines. He's got the MPE, and that's the more interesting piece to me, because I think you can get to more Malcolm Brogdon if you wanted to, but he's just point guard. He's point guard only. Even the same situation for Smart, who's $200 more than White, maybe has the expectation to play like an extra minute or two over White, but again, point guard only. So it becomes just simply easier to try to roster Derek White, and that's why you see his ownership come up. But I don't think that White, Smart, and Brogdon look all that different relative to each other. It just so happens that White has the better positional eligibility.
Someone asked, how do you get onto Hall of Fame if you don't have Twitter? And then, you got to have Twitter. So he said he doesn't like social media.
Don't use it then.
What's that?
Then just don't use it. Just because you tweet it out doesn't mean you have to be like, well, shit, I guess I got to scroll Twitter today.
Right. You're not like conforming to the system if you throw it. Listen, we as a company have to have that. You don't have to. I personally hate social media. I hate it.
I love it.
But I need I'm not getting into this, but got to use it. You know what I mean? Create a burner account, man. Create something. Throw one tweet out there. If you qualified and your stance is like, I don't want to. Yeah, it's $120 value. I'm getting a free month. I don't want to. Just create one. And then after you get your Hall of Fame, you can delete it. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? You got to leave it up for. Actually, no, you can't, because if you delete the tweet, we can revert that free month. Just leave it up there and don't tweet.
Yeah.
After that, yeah,
right. It's
just do that.
Very simple.
I'll show you later in the show. We had a guy the other day with 35 cents in the 700. Right? He ended up getting in the Hall of Fame free month. We have another one later in the show. I know you saw that because he talked about how our show makes him laugh in the morning.
Yeah.
Everything was like $2 in the 1700 with the stochastic avatar.
I love seeing shit like that, man. It's so satisfying to just have people be like, oh, I'm going to buy like $1 scratch off essentially of a lineup. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, I hit 1,500
and hit with the stochastic avatar too. So tack on another 120 to that and the pride of being up in the Hall of Fame. But yeah. Okay. Now that we've got it updated, you have Smart 5,100, 44%. Look, I understand it. The guy's he's a high energy player. He's going to give you opportunities to grab steals. It's not like he's a high usage player, but he has been pretty involved. And the good thing, I'll throw this out there, at least with a guy like Marcus Smart, if he only shoots 12 times, 9 of them could be 3-point attempts. Like, at least you're giving yourself the upside from long range. He's not going to give you a ton of peripherals, but he's going to get you some steals. He might get you 7 or 8 combined rebounds and assists, and you'll have an opportunity to get some 3-pointers up there. So 5,100, 35, 27, and 34 minutes in those games. Of course, the 27 was in a massive blowout. I get the ownership coming in the Smart today.
Yeah, so do I. As of my previous run, I had a bunch. I could let you know what I've got to now. I just finished my crunch. Still have 55% of Smart, so happy to get there. I'm happy to get to like most things for Boston. Their rotation is pretty firm at this point, so you don't really have to feel all that bad grab at any piece here. And nobody outside of like Robert Williams, pretty much everybody just plays normal minutes. So if you get to Tatum or Brown, Smart, Horford, White, Brogdon, like even Time Lord or Grant Williams, you feel okay with it. They're a really hard team to talk about. You want to win the point guard lottery, because you expect one of Smart, White, or Brogdon to just be a better option. You kind of want to win the Tatum-Brown lottery, with Brown having the better positional eligibility and the better price, but obviously Tatum having the much, much bigger ceiling. After that, I find Boston to be really difficult to talk about. I think they're like the most obvious team that exists right now. By the way, Josh can clearly throw further and more accurately. Make sure you read that super chat at some point.
From Avi?
Yeah.
Yeah, I highly doubt that. I'm in peak physical shape right now, brother. I've been optimizing body and mind for a solid 6 months now, every single day.
I am not in peak condition, but you are not out throwing a baseball further or faster than I will.
Next time we meet, we will go accuracy, distance, and what was it? Speed? We'd have to find it. We'd have to get something to clock. Well, you know what I have to do? We'll have to go find
we'll go to a Phillies game.
Or no, just go like to a random road where they have the speedometer up there. You know how they do those?
I don't think it works like that. Let's just go to a Phillies game.
Dude, the best. Do you remember the intro? Did you ever watch The Office?
Yeah.
Okay, there was the one where they were all running to see how fast they could run in the intro, and he runs, but he makes sure that there's a car like right behind him that speeds by at 40 miles per hour. And he's like, "Oh, I win." You haven't seen that one? That's a good start to good open to the episode.
Wildly overrated show.
No, that was a great show.
No,
the first several seasons of that show were fantastic. I don't think you could though. I don't think you could. I think what would happen is you go out there, your first throw might be okay, but then you just like shred your elbow or your shoulder because you haven't used it in so long.
Yeah, I didn't say that I'm going to be able to throw max capacity 100 times, but I mean, I'm going to beat you by lots and lots and lots of feet.
I don't think so. I highly doubt it.
No doubt.
I highly doubt it, dude. I'm optimized, brother. I'm optimized right now. Been listening to a lot of I can't remember his name. I haven't been. There's like one of those
Andrew Huberman.
He's this fucking guy's everywhere right now. Everywhere. We had another super
it's
chat.
all Huberman all the time now.
Yeah, not sure how I feel about that.
It's like if you tug on your balls while you're cranking, you get 10% more testosterone. But if you do it while you're in an ice bath, you get 20.
If you can find them. Matthew Moore with a super chat. Which players do you think have the widest range of outcomes today relative to their median projections?
The bench guys. Robert Williams, TJ Warren, DeAnthony Melton, Josh Okogie, Landry Shamet. Probably nobody from Denver. That's probably it. DeAndre Ayton, if he plays.
They're just crushing you in this poll right now.
I don't care what shows up in the poll. Like this isn't even a
crushing.
Totally meaningless to me. It could not mean less.
Man, in high school, I was throwing 92 miles per hour.
Nope.
That's not true.
92 kilometers per hour, maybe.
That's not. Yeah, definitely wasn't. Would be fun though. We should meet at a Phillies game sometime. Get in there, make a spectacle of it, bring some cameras in.
Do you think you could throw 92 kilometers per hour?
What's the conversion?
You don't know it off the top of your head?
Do you?
Yeah.
What?
57.
All right, so you just looked it up.
I mean, I did look it up, but I do know the conversion.
Of course you looked it up. Next, you're going to tell me you know the conversion for Fahrenheit to Celsius, which I actually knew and I forgot.
I do.
What is it?
I don't know.
No, I didn't think so. Is there anything else for Boston that intrigues you today? Outside of, like you said, this, would you call it the Brown and Tatum sweepstakes? Like just hoping to get that right.
And I'm light on both of those dudes right now, and that is a scary proposition. So I'm hoping when I click on Philly that I'm heavier on Philly, because I do think that Philly looks a little bit better in this one than they did in Game 3. But no, I'm getting pretty heavily to Smart, pretty neutral to White, neutral to Brogdon, neutral to Time Lord. But I am under on Horford, and I am light on Tatum and Brown. The Brown piece continues to scare me. I don't mind being lighter on Tatum, just because, like, obviously that it's not fun, but you've got Jokic, you've got Booker, Durant, Embiid, all of these guys as other pay up options. I have those guys, and like I'm getting to Embiid, which is a conversation point. So eventually you just can't get every single pay up option. But Jaylen Brown at 8,100. Like, I like that price tag. The problem for me is that I just have Jamal Murray projected a lot better than him, and that's sort of tripping me up.
I know Grant Williams, is not a great per minute guy, and he was pretty awful last game, but 2% ownership right now.
I'm not getting there. I didn't get there on Friday.
But that still seems
I wish
low.
that I
He's
did.
Almost minimum salary.
Look, he's interesting. He's certainly interesting. It's the pack of guys there where you've got Tucker at 4K, Paul Reed at 3,900. Do with that with what you want. Very similar to Grant Williams, honestly. You get Shamet at 3,500, Williams at 3,500, and then you got to figure out what's happening with Josh Okogie, Torrey Craig. There's just a lot of similar dudes there. And then you get someone like TJ Warren who just looks better than Grant Williams at a cheaper price tag, and it becomes a little bit more difficult.
Samson said after the contest, both of you will be making appointments with the orthopedic department. You're probably right.
Oh, my shoulder's going to hurt. Like, my shoulder and elbow are going to be a real problem, but I'm going to destroy you here.
Dude, I've been doing dead hangs every day. I think my shoulder will be fine. I'm trying to maximize my dead hangs now.
Smart.
I'm telling you, bro. I've gone off the deep end. I started getting older, and I go, what has happened to me? I woke up one day and I said, things are about to change, my friends. I looked at my wife in the eye and I said, this is it. This is the day. And when I tell her these things, she's just like, cool. Cool. Okay.
Did you tell her that while smoking a cigarette?
I don't smoke anymore, man.
Uh-huh.
I don't smoke. I told you, I'm optimized.
That's right. You vape now. Much better.
I haven't had a drink in 6 months.
Nope. A drink of what?
But I drink responsibly now.
That's
the difference.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Times have changed, dude. Times have changed. Anyway,
no, I don't think they have.
Big time. I think with Grant Williams, though, it's like, he's not very good, but he's almost minimum salary and he's 2% owned. So who knows? I guess the only other reason I point that out is you look at some of these other guys. Like, all right, what's the biggest difference between Grant Williams and this isn't like a rhetorical question. I'm actually asking you, what's the biggest difference between Grant Williams and say TJ Warren, who's getting a lot more ownership at basically the same price? And last game was, a low volume shooter as well. And it's the first time he's been in the rotation.
The hope for more minutes, slightly better per minute fantasy performer. That's about slightly better price. That's about it.
Okay. And what's the ownership disparity, right? What's the difference in ownership?
50-2.
That's all I'm saying, right? That's all I'm saying.
I don't disagree with you.
Like, they could both play 26 minutes and they could both take 6 shots. I don't know. This isn't like,
I don't disagree with you. They should be way closer.
Yeah, this isn't like, I love Grant Williams. It's just, that's kind of weird that they're basically the same player right now, give or take a little bit in a per minute department. But if you've got Kevin Durant and Devin Booker literally soaking up 85% of field goal attempts and playing 45 and 42 minutes apiece, not a lot meat left on the bone for TJ Warren either.
No, those ownership numbers in theory should be closer than they are. I should run my sim quick and just see where I have them just separated from sim odds.
And by the way, like, we're going team by team here just because we usually do, but let's not hesitate to draw these comparisons on a live before lock, like cross game and everything. I don't think we need to stick to the book here or by the book here on a live before lock show. You know what I mean? Like, I think that stuff's going to be more valuable than anything else. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to throw them in the chat. You have any super chats, feel free to throw them in the chat. Colin with a super chat, Murray or Jaylen Brown? Murray is more than 2x. Let me just make sure. Let me confirm that Murray's more than 2x the ownership on Jaylen Brown right now. Let's see.
It's pretty close to that.
Yeah, it's since the update, he's not 2x, but he's pretty close. Yeah,
I prefer Murray. That said, like, if you build a very chalky lineup and you want to turn Jamal Murray into Jaylen Brown and you have the $200, I don't begrudge anybody that. It's close, but I do think Jamal Murray is the better option.
Jafar with a super chat. Thank you, guys. I'm making one lineup in FanDuel. Which game should I stack players from? Phoenix or Philly? I wouldn't worry about stacking players at all.
Yeah, I wouldn't think about it like that.
Yeah, I would definitely. Super chat from earlier for Nathan. Jaylen Brown, Derek White, and Tucker. I'll read this slip back to you one more time, Josh. Jaylen Brown, Derek White, and Tucker, or Horford, Brogdon, and Melton. I mean, it seems like the Brown side, but that's
I'm going to assume this is a DraftKings question.
I assume there's nothing there to.
I mean, it's got to be the Brown, White, Tucker side.
Got to be. It's got to be. Yeah. All right. Let's talk about Philly here. And like I said, we can move around. And if there's questions, we'll hit that. Also, 170 likes. We only asked once. Appreciate you guys. If 1,300 of you, a couple of you maybe that simply forgot. That's okay. It's a Sunday. Maybe you did some boozing last night. I'm just here to a simple reminder. Hit that thumbs up if you haven't done so yet. It helps us out greatly. Get us over 200 at the very least, so we can end the weekend on a high note here. The Philadelphia 76ers too. Like, let's just run through these and like I said, try and streamline this process. Not a ton of ownership going to Philly today. Tobias Harris, we have as the highest owned guy. Joel Embiid, of course, 19%. But if you look at Jokic's ownership, and I know there's a discount there, but it's not a huge discount. And then Hardin at 8,600, Tyrese Maxey. Listen, I can't help but look at Hardin here and go, yeah, last game was terrible. I wonder if that depresses his ownership, Josh. I don't know if it will, but Hardin was terrible last game. He's down to 8,600. Kind of interesting at the very least.
Oh, he certainly is. By the way, my sim just finished. I have Murray 39% optimal. I have Jaylen Brown 23% optimal. So
okay, all right. So
a little bit tighter there than the ownership is showing. And then for Grant Williams, I have Grant Williams at 8%. I have TJ Warren at 46.
Wow. I don't. Okay.
Well, just turning it from, what do we have TJ Warren at 50 something?
Yeah.
And Grant at 2, 46 and 8 really just changes that equation a little bit. But either way, I think it's still TJ Warren. Big error bars though on that kind of stuff. Anyway, for Philly, I like Hardin again, 24% owned, 8,600, 1.1 fantasy points per minute throughout the playoffs. He's going to play, you're going to get 39, 40, 41 minutes out of him. I like the fact that they lost the most recent game and that this game is in Philly. You tend to think that there's a little bit of a rebound here for the Sixers. So I have 36% Hardin. I'm going right back to him. I'm doing the same thing for Maxey as well. He's 22% owned. I've got 39%. I'm trying to corner the market on guards for the Sixers. I'm taking a very big stand on Tobias Harris. I'm taking a very big stand on Joel Embiid. I got Embiid in a third of my lineups. So Hardin, Maxey, Harris, Embiid. I am quite a bit over the field on all four guys. I am making a legitimate bet on the Sixers for today.
Wow. Okay. You're over the field significantly on how many?
Hardin, Maxey, Harris, and Embiid.
All right. What about Melton?
Neutral. He is 18.7% owned. He is in 18.7% of my lineups. I couldn't be more neutral. But for the Hardin question, or for the other, when you asked, are you over on all four? I only have 2 of my 150 lineups that have all 4. Only 25 lineups, so 17% of my lineups have 3 of the 4. So the more likely scenario, 70% of my lineups either have 1 of those 4 or 2 of those 4. So while I do have a lot and I'm over on all of them, it's not just a giant congregation of 4-man Sixer stacks.
And as far as PJ Tucker goes, I mean, I think there's better options. Sure, he could go out there and have himself a bit of a game, but he did what he needed to do as a shooter last game, 3 of 4 from 3 on 4 total attempts, but complete 0 everywhere else. It's not indicative of his value on the floor, but his fantasy value is just absolutely terrible. And there's no 2 ways around that.
I have 0. I will say he's projected for 4% ownership and he came out of my sim at 9. So I do think that there's some positive leverage to be found there. If you wanted to switch from, if you wanted to get away from the TJ Warren chalk and you wanted to go to PJ Tucker and pay up a little bit more to be contrarian, I get that path. I do think he's a little under-owned, but this is not a guy that is optimal all that frequently. He's not great. And the fact that he's 4K is insane. He should be cheaper now than he was before the last game.
Yeah, it's only because he's a starter. There's no other reason. Silent Warrior 99. Hey, welcome to Team Stokastic, man. Yeah, you guys can join if you want. Hit that join down below. free super chats each month, the custom emojis, the badges. I got that nice looking badge in there. A lot of people do. A lot of badges in chat, as always. And then you have Jorge come in here and just dump like 500 gift memberships from time to time. He had a nice little win the other day too. I saw he took down 2K. I think it was 2,000 on a pretty small entry. We got the May bundle going right now too. Got the May bundle going. In honor of Steve Buzzard's historic run. Eddie Lai took down another 50K the other day too.
Sure did.
Jake Hari just crushing in NHL, and so many of our subs as well. We had one come in I think it was yesterday that had me pretty stoked. It was, all right, check this out. Ready, Josh? So it was an at Stokastic HOF. This dude definitely getting in the Hall of Fame, but it was just at Stokastic HOF from what is that? Hollywood Chop says first time using Stokastic. That's not going to happen to everybody, but first time using Stokastic, one entry in the 4-point play, $7,500 second place. That'll get it done. That'll get it done. And,
that's the best. You can't really ask for anything better than that. It would seem fake if I knew that it wasn't.
M the Great as well in our chalkboard. He threw this in our chalkboard. If you're not in there, join us. Links in the description. We use it for betting for DFS. We got almost 2,000 people in there. We're just sweating bets and DFS every day. The app is free. It's a better Discord for sports betting, and you can sync all your sports books. You can share all of your picks, track all your bets in there. It's really cool stuff. We're putting all the picks are free too. Everything. Greg just dropped a beautiful home run pick a little while ago. So if you have a smartphone, which I guess you do, download the app. It's awesome. You'll have a lot of fun, and it's always going to be free. He dropped this on our chalkboard. He just said, very simply, used are all from Stokastic projections and data. Thanks a lot, guys. $1,000, sixth place. And that was in a little PGA action. So shout out to the PGA tools. Right now with the May bundle, your first 3 days are only $5, whether it's for a weekly or a monthly. All the tools for every single, Josh, we don't have enough time to count every single sport, but as you know, there's like 15 sports running concurrently right now, and we have every tool for all of them.
You can't really get a better time right now. You don't get the NFL, but it's literally everything else that's going on. Baseball, basketball, hockey, MMA last night, which was frustrating to say the least. But you have it all the time. Whatever the racing sports are, they exist. Knockoff football leagues, whatever the hell they are.
Got it all. Link in the description and in chat. You're looking $5 for the first 3 days, whether you're doing weekly or monthly. You're getting the lineup generator on top of all of our tools too for every single sport. Check it out if you haven't done so yet. If you have any questions, my DMs are open too. I'm happy to help you out with that. But May bundle. Use the link in the description and get that. Sign up, take advantage of it. Make sure you're rocking the Stokastic avatar. Get in the Hall of Fame, baby. Simplest way to do it: have the avatar. So when you put $2 in and you end up hitting 1,700, like here it is. Here it is. I just wanted to throw this out there because this was awesome. This is the one from Alex saying, just want to say thank you to the great show every day. Loughran and Josh always make me laugh in the morning show. Glad to hear that. Made me happier than seeing people win money. Just seeing that providing a little something extra. You know what I mean? But $2 into $272 in the 1,700. Fella was smart, rocking the avatar, get the free month, get up in the Hall of Fame. Congratulations to you, brother. Stokastic.com/avatar. All right. Should we move on to Denver and Phoenix? I think we just break this down across everything. We got 25 minutes. We got some time. Let's just break this one down. I actually want to start with Phoenix. I think it's a little bit more.
I don't think there's any reason to even talk about Denver, so that's fine.
That's what I'm saying. I think we need to spend more time on Phoenix, and I want to make sure we get that done. So
Agreed. Let's
pull up the last game. You go to Popcorn Machine, wherever it is that you prefer to do it, AMF, whatever it is. Looking at this last game, Phoenix got the win, but it's, my God, dude. Hey, I'm watching this and I'm just thinking, they're going to win this game, but I don't see how they can continue to do this. 43 and a half minutes for Durant, 42 from Booker. Usage rates in this game, right? 37 for Durant, 32 for Booker. They attempted 56 combined field goals, okay? Then Torrey Craig doesn't count. He played 3 minutes. You drop all the way down all the way down to, if you're actually talking about guys playing decent minutes, Cameron Payne, usage rate, Josh, 13%, Warren 12, 8 and 10% usage in that game across the board. I mentioned at the top of the show.
Yeah.
They had more touches, if you go to the tracking data on NBA.com, than the rest of the team combined.
Yes, they did, which was not great for me having DeAndre Ayton as my most exposed player this past Friday.
Yeah, that not great. But
nope,
you know what?
Didn't go the way that I wanted it to.
Real quick though, you made the call on Booker, and definitely, like when you said that, everything clicked for me as well. I was like, you're right. That Chris Paul being out, when you take Booker and put him alongside Cameron Payne, Booker is going to see a lot more just overall ball handling responsibilities. Yeah. Where, don't get me wrong, Kevin Durant still had a 37% usage rate. It was by far the highest on the team. But Devin Booker had 18, and Durant had a huge game for what it's worth. Sure. Huge game. But Devin Booker had 18 potential assists. No one else had more than 7.
Yeah. He's going to have the ball like permanently in these situations without Chris Paul. So it's really hard to not like him. That said, he's 10K. Like, I gave him 42 minutes. I gave Durant 42. They're live to play more, but if he's 10K and Jason Tatum is 9,600, like, those guys are not all that dissimilar. But even still, $900 above him is Nikola Jokic, and Nikola Jokic is very clearly the preferred pay-up option. I think Devin Booker is more closely to like appropriately priced. He's 19% owned. I actually have him a little under-owned. He showed up in my sim a little bit more frequently at 30%, but at the same time, I can't get to that 10K price tag as much. It's just so much easier to get to Durant at 9,900, better positional eligibility as well. It's easier to get to small forward, power forward than it is the point guard, shooting guard. So I'm basically matching the current public ownership. I have 19% Booker. He's projected for 19%. I have 36% Kevin Durant. He's projected for 36.
All right. You want a fun little game here. I want to hear what you have to, I want to hear your guess on this. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So last game, Devin Booker and Kevin Durant combined for 144 fantasy DraftKings points.
Mm-hmm.
How many DraftKings points did the rest of the Phoenix Suns combine for?
100.
86.
Yeah. It's generally speaking, you're usually talking about somewhere in the neighborhood of a fantasy point per minute of game time. So.
Right, but still,
I just took the difference from 240. That was my quick back of the envelope guess.
No, it's a good guess, but 86 is outrageous. Like,
yeah, that's not great when you got a lot of Phoenix.
Durant had 67, Booker had 77. I only say this to make the point of which we already know. When we remember, we were both saying like this is, and I'd asked Adam. I go, what are the chances that this is? Oh, I asked him on the deeper dive. Like this is a two-man show, not just in the sense that like these guys do most of everything, but that these guys do everything. And his response was, I think the possibility is very high. They did everything. It's not, again, it's not even like a Kawhi and Paul George situation. You know, it's not even an Anthony Davis and LeBron James situation. This is unique in that if they want to stay competitive, they need to do everything and they need to play almost the entirety of the game.
It's interesting because, like, in the grand scheme of things, that's probably good. We're talking about two of the, 10 best offensive players in basketball. Like, that's probably better than letting Josh Okogie shoot. If the other team doesn't have the ability to stop those two guys from doing it, then those guys using those possessions, it's going to work. The question is, do they run out of gas before it's too late?
Take a few super chats here.
Yeah.
Someone asked about tiers. Let me pull tiers up and we can take a look at that.
I ran my tiers crunch, so I can give you whatever you want.
Nice. All right. Hannah had asked about tiers.
Okay. No brainer for tier 1. It's got to be Jokic. He projects multiple points ahead of any other person in that list. If you think that Embiid can play 40 minutes today, he can kind of claw that back a bit, but it's got to be Jokic in tier 1. Tier 2, also to me, very, very clear. That's going to be Jason Tatum. I just don't see a way around that one. Tier 3 is where you start to get some ambiguity. I got Maxey, Ayton, and Harris all in assorted lineups without any sort of randomness put on. I think those 3 guys are the 3 that you want to get to. I have Ayton projected the highest, but that's by 0.06 fantasy points over Maxey. So Your mileage may vary. Try to balance your lineup a little bit better with Maxey, Ayton, Harris, whatever fits around everybody else. Marcus Smart and Brogdon are the two options for tier 4. I think Smart is a slightly better option than Brogdon just because of the minutes. Tier 5, 3 options. It's not Tucker, Reed, or Grant Williams. You can either go to KCP, Melton, or Robert Williams. If you have a lean, go with it. I have KCP as the highest projected guy in that tier. And then finally, tier 6, to me, it's TJ Warren. I think you could take a shot at Landry Shamet. Probably wouldn't be going to anybody else.
Okay, good stuff. Josh of Los Angeles, member of 24 months, free super chat. Just to say, 2 years strong. Thanks for the great content, fellas. Yeah, appreciate you too, man. And always our interesting dialogue on Twitter as well. Always appreciate that. We come from different sides of the spectrum sometimes, and usually meet in the middle. You don't see that type of stuff on Twitter very often. So I appreciate Josh, very much so. Sean Sullivan with a super chat. White or Payne, last man in on DraftKings?
I prefer Derek White.
I was going to say, it might seem like Payne is the answer just because he's kind of the flavor of the week, given that Chris Paul is out, but I think the answer is White.
Yeah, I prefer White. I have more White. I have White. I have Payne projected for 0.5 of a point more. He's also $100 more expensive. So if we're just talking raw points, it's Payne, but I think Derek White is the better play.
All right. My filler arc, Brogdon or Smart or Campaign, Pain, and he said typo, intentional. Brogdon, Smart, or Campaign?
Smart.
We got a lot of super chat. All right, this is good. Let's take these.
Yeah.
Nathan, thanks, Nathan.
Get all the money we can get.
Yeah, every $2 at a time.
Yeah.
No, it makes for good content for Live Before Locks. A little easier. A lot of people have these same questions. DraftKings Showdown, McDaniels or Grant Williams?
Grant Williams.
It's got to be Grant there.
Not even close.
Not even close, because just from a playing time perspective.
Assuming that they don't have like preposterously different salaries.
McDaniels played 11 minutes last game.
Yeah, it's Grant Williams without question, unless I just don't know the salaries.
Wow. I just realized Tucker only played 3 minutes and 52 seconds in the first quarter.
Yeah, they got him out of there pretty quick. He was passing up shots.
Yeah. And they went down early by like 10. I remember that.
Yeah.
All right.
By the way, Jalen McDaniels is 1,800. Grant Williams is 3,200. It's still Grant Williams, but it's a little bit closer. That's a pretty big gap in salary.
What about George Nang for DK Showdown? That's from Marcus here. I personally don't think that's insane. And I'll tell you why. If you get in a situation like last game where they fall behind and they just need 3, I'm talking Showdown here, of course, and they need 3-point shooting, he is one of those, there's few options that they will get some opportunities. He got up 5 threes last game, 4 for 7 from the field. He's pretty much a 0 everywhere else. But I don't know, man. If he played 19 minutes, I think this is game flow dependent when it comes to George Nang. You're going to probably need them to be playing from behind or him just to get super hot, which is possible, especially if Hardin and Maxey shoot like dog shit again. I don't know. I haven't looked at the numbers, but just thinking Showdown where you're trying to get as cheap as possible so you can fit some of these top guys in. If he gives you 15, you're probably in business.
I want to circle back. I would rather have McDaniels than Grant Williams now that I run a crunch.
What are the prices? Is it that different that it changes up the build?
McDaniels is the cheapest guy on the slate at 1,800 of anybody that's going to actually play. Grant Williams at 3,200. I think Niang and Grant Williams are very close.
I guess when you put it like that, in the sense of like, because Showdown the pricing is so much different.
Yeah. I ran a quick crunch of 500 lineups with some randomness on, and I got to significantly more McDaniels at the bottom, just because you have so many, like you've got that Embiid, Tatum, Harden, Brown quad pay up where you start to need to like make some salary.
Hey, here's a fun one from D-Buff. Thanks for the super chat, man. DK question: Embiid, KD, or Jokic, Jaylen Brown?
Embiid, KD.
Yeah, I think so too. Hey, yeah. How do you prioritize KD and Booker today, just knowing what we saw and what we expected after game 3?
I like KD more just because of his positional designation, but you just got to go to him. Like these guys, assuming the fact that we've got a line that's, basically a coin flip. We're expecting a fully competitive game on both sides here. You're just expecting 42 plus minutes out of Durant and Booker, and they just don't have anybody else on the court that's going to take those touches. That exactly what you're getting out of them. Like the floors for these guys are just so huge.
That's what's funny about this team is that it's not like, oh, it could go this way. It won't. Like maybe they shoot poorly. That's possible. Like they just have a terrible game. But I don't think there's a feasible alternative direction that they can take today. Down 2-1 in the series. They just can't. They don't have anyone else. Do any super chats that I missed? If you see any, Jacob, let me know if I missed any. I'm trying to make sure there were a lot that came in. Who's projected higher, Jokic or Embiid? Jokic way higher than Joel Embiid. James asked top value plays. It's gonna be guys like Warren.
We have Jock Landale projected for 40% ownership. Do you want to have that conversation?
Well, yeah, sure. Wait, I think let me just make sure we got through all of these so we can, let's get through these real quick and then let's get to the Jock Landale for sure.
Sure.
Squeak Diesel, raw points on FanDuel, Warren versus Tucker.
I have Warren at 15.2. I have Tucker at 11.9.
Demetrius, celebrate the first super chat from Demetrius. Why do they do this? Thank you, though. Favorite prize picks plays? Did you do a prize picks video today?
I did a prize picks video today. Should I give them out?
Why not? Yeah. You can check that out on the Odd Shopper channel as well.
So I took over 5.5 rebounds for Michael Porter Jr. and over 7.5 rebounds plus assists for Tobias Harris.
Okay. Best 4,600 or under player on DraftKings.
Let me take a look. 4,600 and under.
Yep.
That is going to be Bruce Brown. Assuming we're talking about raw points. Yeah. TJ Warren is a better play in that range, but you got to tell me what you're doing with that extra $1,200.
And then last one here. Core must-have play on DraftKings $4 GPP. Now, I know there's some obvious ones, but do you kind of think that if you want to have one of Durant and Booker a lot? It's just, I know the price.
TJ Warren to me is the core, is the first person you're putting into a lineup.
And that's why I'm saying I understand. And Jokic is super popular as well, coming off a 30-17 and 17 game. I get that. But just everything we've talked about Booker and Durant, I'd want to have a lot. Yeah,
I don't know if they're in the core. We've got Jokic. We've got Jokic as the highest owned guy on the slate. It's got to be Jokic in that.
That's what I'm saying.
Answer,
it is
right?
Jokic.
Yeah.
I was just going down a little bit further. But yeah, it's got to be Jokic. All right, let's get into some interesting stuff with Jock Landale, who was backing up backing up DeAndre Ayton last game. Before we do though, we still got 1,500 people here. Shout out to you guys. We talk a lot about the Stokastic Hall of Fame, and how you get into it, and you got to finish top 3 in a field of 5,000 or more, or you just sign up at BetMGM. Now, it's not available to everyone in every state. Understandable. If it is available to you, Josh, listen to this.
Okay.
You click the link. Takes 2 minutes to sign up. 2 minutes of your day. You click the link. You sign up at BetMGM. You got to use the link because I'll tell you why in a second. You deposit $10. Bet that $10 on whatever the hell you want. Doesn't matter. You don't need to win the bet. Doesn't matter if you win or lose. You get a free month of Stokastic Plus Platinum. $120 value. Every tool like we talked about for all of the dozens of sports that are happening right now that we have tools for. Everything is free for the entire month, including the premium Discord. And I'll do you one better. That first bet that you make, first bet insurance up to $1,000. So even if your bet loses, up to $1,000, could be 10, 20, 100, 500, 1,000. Every bit of that, if you lose, comes back to you in bonus bets. Free month, $120 value, all of our tools, everything. If BetMGM's around in your state, and first bet insurance up to $1,000. Legitimate no-brainer.
I think that every single person that has the ability to take these deals should take them the moment they exist. Every single one of them that pops up. Take advantage of free months that we're giving out for signing up. Take advantage of all these deposit bonuses and bonus bet type deals. When things like this pop up, you are just simply like, you're never going to make a bet that's even remotely as close to as good of a value as just simply signing up and using these promotions.
It's a good way to look at it. Yeah.
And like, people will avoid doing that, but they'll want to get money down on a game. It's like, you've got like at best, you probably are a losing bettor. At best, you're saying you think you have like a 1% edge on something that you're taking, a 2% edge. When you're putting this money, it's the same situation as like if you get a 401k match from your company. You should put in as much money as you possibly can to get the full match. This is free money, free something that you don't have to deal with. Like, just grab it while you can, folks. Even if you're not like the biggest fan of us, just get the value out of it alone.
And it's not even like you're getting a free, TV or something, which depreciates over time. And it's like, it's cool to have, but it doesn't actually do anything for you. You're getting a free month of every single tool, which you could then parlay into more money, for DFS, for betting. It's a legitimate investment. Turn it into more money. Click the link, takes 2 minutes, $10, put it on anything. Of course, must be 21 years or older to gamble. If you or someone has a gambling problem, please call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. All right. So, Jock Landale, let's get into it. He actually had the second or third most. I think he had the third most fantasy points on the team last game. I could be wrong. I think he had the third. He did. He had the third most fantasy points behind Kevin Durant and Devin Booker last game. I think that's something.
It's something. All right. This is the weirdest
22 minutes.
22 minutes. The question is, how many minutes does he play today? That's where it starts to get real squirrely.
I don't know if it's 22, but I'd be shocked if he wasn't the direct backup to Ayton.
Yeah, I gave him 16. I gave Ayton 33. I'm not really getting to Landale. 40% ownership seems way too high for someone that has center eligibility, and for some on a slate where we have 50-something% ownership going into Nikola Jokic. We're really limiting the amount of potential centers that you can get to at this point. Now, it is a 2-game slate. There's not like a shit ton of centers that you can get to. My guess is that 40% is actually like 30 or so. I get the path here. I don't know if they're willing to just like really put DeAndre Ayton on ice. It's not like they're going to stop starting Ayton, and that he's going to be out there at the beginning of the first quarter and third quarter. I think it's much more likely that DeAndre Ayton rebounds and plays starter minutes than it is that this becomes like a 24-24 split.
Landale closing the game is crazy, though.
It is.
That is something that you can't just ignore. You can't ignore that at all. Their closing lineup. They
closed with 3 of the guys that started the game out of their closing rotation.
Just going to say, Landale, Jock Landale, and TJ Warren closed alongside Booker and Durant.
Yeah, I think that's just a lot of like riding what's working.
Right, but that's why I think they at least go with that unless it's not working.
Yeah.
But Monty has not been. He has not done a lot with in-game adjustments. Like, if anything, it's kind of the next game, right?
Right.
I'm not. This whole Okogie thing, I'm pretty sure this was the plan going in. Maybe not 10 minutes, but start and play him a little bit and then not play him a lot. Because as you mentioned on Friday, he said that Warren was going to play. He said that Ross was going to play. He said these guys were going to play. Maybe he didn't expect Warren to play the entire third and second and fourth quarter, but we knew that was going to happen. So I wasn't shocked to see. I told you before the show, I hammered the unders on Okogie after that news. What else do you want to do with Phoenix? And then we'll just touch on Denver quickly because that's pretty easy spot. And we don't even need to talk about Nikola Jokic. That's just goes without saying.
I'll say this. I would not be surprised to see one of Landry Shamet or TJ Warren start in place of Josh Okogie today. Be ready for that. Warren is the guy that you just got to get to today. 3,200 small forward, power forward. There, to me, there's no way around that after that game. To play the entire second quarter and the entire fourth quarter, don't overthink it. It's the easiest play on today's slate. I do like the idea of getting to Shamet, though. I mean, he closed. He played a standard issue backup run in the first half, got a little bit more run in that third quarter. I gave him 22 minutes. I'm not getting to as much as I thought I would. And the ownership disparity between Warren and Shamet is really interesting to see. I like the idea of getting to a little bit more Shamit if you can at only 5% ownership. I think the campaign ownership is fine. I think he's probably a little over-owned. Came out of my sim at 28%. I got him at about 25%. There's just not a lot of like volume to go around because of Booker and Durant. So you got to make sure that you're really discounting the campaign projection. He doesn't have to close. I actually think that it's probably pretty likely that he doesn't unless it's going ultra his way. I think that you could just get a better closing lineup out there without having campaign because you start running into like real bad defensive situations. Terrence Ross is getting 11% ownership. I'm not a huge believer in that. He didn't seem to have the rotations in the first game or in the most recent game that like really seems like he should be getting unlocked. Torrey Craig is probably out of the rotation. Played 3 minutes in the first quarter, never saw the floor again. This isn't a series for Torrey Craig. I didn't really expect to see much Torrey Craig in this series from the beginning. He's a guy you want out there when they have like a pretty dynamic wing scorer. That's just not what the Nuggets are.
All right, let's do this. We got about 4 minutes and we have some super chats. Let's hit them. Thanks to all of you guys for hanging out with us. And of course, for the super chats, much appreciated, and for joining the channel, all that stuff, whatever it is. Appreciate you. And if you're taking advantage of the May bundle, the BetMGM promo, either of the two, again, link is in the description. My honest recommendation, even though it might not be as good for us because you're going through MGM and not straight through us to do the May bundle, my honest recommendation is if you do have, they're both fantastic deals. If you do have access to BetMGM in your state, that is the clear and evident and obvious path to take to get a month essentially for free. It's just the way it is. Nathan, best captain in the Denver versus Suns showdown on DraftKings. I mean, you would think Jokic, but I haven't looked at pricing.
Best captain?
Yeah.
I assume it's going to be Jokic when I run this crunch. Yeah, I got Jokic like 25% of the time, Booker and Durant about 17% each.
So all of them look real good.
Yep.
Highest projected 3,600 or under player not named TJ Warren. That's a good one.
For me, it's Landry Shamet.
Okay. Debuff, another super chat. Thanks. I forgot to add the third DK question. Embiid, KD, and Bruce Brown. Oh, and by the way, our player compare tool is on Stokastic. It's free 100% of the time. Like, it's always free. If you guys have like a 1v1 or a 2v2 and you know you're running out of time, use that. You're getting the ownership and projections and everything if you're afraid that we might not see your question in time. Okay, so it's Embiid, KD, and Bruce Brown, or Jokic, Jaylen Brown, and MPJ. You want me to read that one more time?
Yeah, I got it here. Embiid, KD, Bruce Brown, Jokic, Brown, MPJ. I think that's got to be the Embiid, KD, Bruce Brown trio.
Okay. Tucker or Grant for the last spot. We'll make this quick. We're running up against it.
Grant.
Bruce Brown. I'm going to just throw these at you real quick. Bruce Brown or Melton?
Bruce Brown or Melton. Bruce Brown.
All right. KCP or Melton? Last one.
KCP.
All right. Bam. That's how it's done, boys. Appreciate you guys hanging out. Have a great rest of the weekend. As always, shout out to Jacob Roach for producing this one. We're not allowed to take the liberties we usually do here, but
no.
You know, on a live before live, we try and buckle down a little bit here. But thanks, guys. You're the best. Have a great rest of the weekend. Maybe the Sixers sneak out a win here, but it ain't gonna be easy. I'll tell you that much. We will see you back here. You and me tomorrow morning. Yeah.
You and me.
As always, see you on the strategy show. Be sure not to miss that. Don't be a fool. All right. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace.